So this makes the Federation of Malaya as trustee and make the Borneo states, including Singapore, as beneficiary. If there is any dispute, to this, okay, now you are done, have already made a resolution to empower group of people to go and discuss this in KL. If KL couldn't care less, this is an international treaty, okay? Meaning to say, if there is any dispute in this international treaty, then you will require international arbitration. Not go to the federal court. You don't go to the federal court, you go to international arbitration. If they want to dispute this. Okay? So, I think Sarawak government have been playing a very good, they understand this. You know, they throw it. Okay, you want to dispute? We are not going to the federal court, we are going to the international arbitration. With the British sitting down there. Do they want that? So it's up to them. Huh? The ball is in their court. So perhaps until today, Malaya is still unaware. Legally, they cannot do things upon the Borneo states. They cannot. They have to understand that. Okay, now, I have to show you this. Here it says Her Majesty's sovereignty and jurisdiction in respect of the new states. The new states are the Federation of North Borneo, Sarawak and Singapore, on the 31st of July 1963. This is what they say. Shall be relinquished, so as to vest, in the manner agreed, What does meaning, what does, so as to vest in the manner agreed means? When they relinquish the sovereignty and jurisdiction, to vest in the manner agreed means to hold in trust in accordance to the trust deed, which is the Malaysia Agreement. This is where the question I was asking right from the beginning, what is the structure of Malaysia? Is it the Federation of State? Is it a nation state? Or is it a trust? This is to show you the interpretation that for all this, it could be a trust. All right? Now, Chapter 35 compared to Chapter 60 of the Federation of Malaya Independence Act is different. Over there, they didn't put so as to vest in the manner agreed. It's a total cut-off. Here, they talk about vest in the manner agreed. Two documents that everyone agreed upon, the IGC committee report and the Malaysia Agreement, are the trust deed. These two. You have to read it together. How is it possible that Malaysia moved from being a country to being a trust? There are two reasons pointing towards this direction. United Nations Information on Trust and Non-Self-Government Territories, 1945-1999. The conclusion of the United Nations Secretary General on the 14th of September 1963. If we go to the United Nations website, it is still there. Administering state, United Kingdom. These were the trust territories or the beneficiaries. But at that point in time, United Kingdom don't have a trust deed. Don't have this. We were just their colony. All right? Then in 1963, they shift these administering states from United Kingdom to Malaya in 1963. When they shift this, that means Malaya now becomes our trustee. All right? And we becomes the beneficiary. This is where, again, we are not just the 12 and the 13 states. They are our trustee and we are the beneficiary. Now, those of you who understand trust will understand what I'm talking about. All right? And we have our trust deed. They have to follow this. They cannot just simply skip. Okay? Now, if it is not a transfer of trustee to become trustee from trust administration from United Kingdom to Malaya, if it's not a transfer of trust administration, then we are from British colony to the Federation of Malaya colony. Straightforward. If we are not trustee, if we are not beneficiary. If this is the case, it will defeat the whole decolonization process. So, we have to take a stand that Malaya is actually just a trustee for the Borneo states. Right? Here, he says, in my opinion, complete compliance with the principle of self-determination within the requirement of General Assembly Resolution 1541, 15 Principle 9 of the Annex. This was said by the Secretary General of the United Nations, UTAN, on the 14th of September 1963. Observe. Resolution 1541, Principle 15. We see a group of people in Sarawak today, especially, are collecting petition, collecting signatures. And they are collecting signatures. They use Resolution 1514. It's not 1541, as agreed by the Secretary General of the United Nations on the 14th of September 1963. Read the letter that they present to you. It is 1514. My question is this. Will the Secretary General today accept a petition based on 1514 when the Secretary General of the United Nations on the 14th of August 1963 already said it is 1541? That means the petition now is saying that what the Secretary General says in 1963 was wrong. Would that petition find its way to the United Nations? Exactly. So, why are we doing this? Okay? Read, understand. And on top of that, in reaching his conclusion, he is saying that in relation to the responsibilities and obligation established in Article 73 of the General Assembly Resolution 1541-15, what it says here is that, in respect to the territories, what he is saying here is that annually, the trustee must send a progress report of the beneficiary, which until today, I don't see Malaya submitting any report to the United Nations based on Article 73. None. Again, you are not following all this. You see, Sarawak and Sabah have got so much bullets. Up to you, you know. So, when the UN Secretary General says this, he knows the status of Malaya, the status of the Borneo states, and Singapore. He knows. There are two most important issues raised by the Secretary General. Firstly, he acknowledged that Malaysia complied with the principle of self-determination within the requirement of General Assembly Resolution 1541-15, Principle 9 of the Annex. And what is that? It means that the Borneo state held an election. Election, I use the inverted commas election. Because in Sabah, we call it pilihan raya olok-olok. That means you play. Itu macam main kawin-kawin. Okay, so they have this election. And this election, the outcome was victory to the sides that support the Malaysia idea. So based on this, it says, okay, you have adult suffrage. That means you know what you're doing. You have made your selection. That's what it means. And by principle 9, we are formed independence through merger. That means we have one independent country and two countries not yet independent. That's the word, not yet independent, because we are beneficiary. They are trust administrator. So they are supposed to make sure to guide us that we are able to stand on our own 2 feet. And once we do that, once we can stand on our own 2 feet, it's up to us to decide, not for them to decide whether you want to stick together or go your own way. So that's independence through merger. Secondly, the principal country, Malaya, has the responsibility and obligation to provide the United Nations annual report on the progress of Sabah and Sarawak for self-determination. They are supposed to do that. And that's our rights. But we have never asked this. So do we blame them or we blame ourselves? So, a responsible and obligation under Article 73 of the United Nations Charter, which until today was never submitted. I haven't seen any. I've tried, okay, to search for it. None. So, has the Queen obligation been fulfilled? This is the question we ask. Okay? The answer is, Her Majesty the Queen has discharged her obligation more than we imagined she could. She has discharged. She left us with a legacy that will stood the test of time and remain constant. She left us with this. She has given us the IGC and the Malaysia Agreement. She gave us this. She expects us to have the maturity and understanding to make use of this. Do we have the maturity and the understanding to make use of this? I bet you, some of you, tonight is the first time you have seen this. Okay? She has given us this, but we don't know how to make use of it. So, if that's the case, do we blame anybody? We don't. We blame ourselves because we don't know. And you don't expect the British to teach you. Because if they come here and teach you, it means you are still not able to stand on your own 2 feet. So we have to learn this ourselves and make use of it ourselves. And I tell you, your Dun have already done it. It seems there are people there who understand what they're talking about. This is it. They said, you must reconcile the Malaysia Agreement with the Constitution. Oh, not just the Constitution, all the enacted laws. And that's a lot of job, I tell you. That's what they have said, and they have passed the resolution. And as I said, Sarawak, the power is with the Dun.